It was a bright afternoon in downtown Florence. The kind of day that made the world feel peaceful, normal. Inside a small corner cafe, Elena Rossi, a 27-year-old waitress with tired eyes and an easy smile, was wiping down tables after the lunch rush. She hummed softly, her apron stained with coffee, her hair tied loosely, another ordinary shift coming to an end. Elena wasn't rich. She wasn't powerful. But she had something this city had long forgotten, a heart that still cared. Her mother used to say, "When you hear someone cry, don't wait to see who it is. Just go." Elena had lived by that ever since she was a child. Elena startled. What was that? Another explosion follows, louder. People scream outside. The cafe windows tremble. Customer shouting. Something's happened. The Di Luca Tower's on fire. Within seconds, chaos spilled into the streets. Smoke coiled into the clear blue sky like a dark serpent. Car alarms blared. People ran, pushing, shouting, terrified. But Elena didn't run. Something in her chest, that same instinct her mother taught her, pulled her toward the smoke. She sprinted down the narrow road. The air grew thick, the heat unbearable. Bits of paper, still burning, fluttered through the air like dying fireflies. She coughed, covering her mouth, when suddenly, a cry. A child's cry. Child weakly, sobbing. "Papa! Help! Somebody please!" Elena froze. The sound came from near a burning car, just meters away from the collapsing building. Without hesitation, she dashed forward. Flames licked at the edges of her dress. She could barely see, her eyes stung, her lungs burned. Then she saw her, a little girl, maybe 5 or 6, trapped beneath a fallen metal beam. Her tiny fingers reached out, trembling. Elena choking on smoke. "Hold on, sweetie. Don't move." She used every ounce of strength she had. Her palms bled. And somehow, she lifted it just enough to pull the child free. The girl's face was streaked with ash, her curls matted with soot. She was crying, gasping for air, clutching a small teddy bear. Child between sobs. "Papa. Papa's inside." Elena desperate, protective. "No, no, sweetheart. We have to go now. Hold on to me." Elena lifted the girl into her arms and ran, her legs trembling, her burned arm throbbing. Behind them, the building groaned, like a wounded beast ready to collapse. She stumbled, fell to her knees, but refused to let go. When she finally burst through the smoke, the world outside gasped. People turned. Some shouted in awe, others froze in disbelief. A woman, her clothes torn, her hair wild, carrying a crying child out of the inferno. Reporter in the crowd. "Is that Isabella Di Luca?" Man whispering. "God help her, that's the Mafia Boss's daughter." Elena blinked, coughing hard, still clutching the child close. The little girl buried her face in Elena's neck, sobbing. And then the crowd parted. Men in dark suits and earpieces poured out, scanning the chaos with sharp eyes. One of them pointed at her. "Over there." "She has the boss's daughter." Elena froze, her knees weak. She didn't understand. Why were they pointing guns? And then he appeared. A tall man in a charcoal gray suit, walking through the smoke like it bowed to him. Sharp jaw, cold eyes, the kind of presence that made even chaos go silent. Alessandro Di Luca. The man whose name the city spoke in whispers. He stopped just a few feet away. The wind caught his coat, and the sunlight glinted off the watch on his wrist. His gaze met Elena's, not in anger, not in confusion, but something else. Something raw. Elena voice trembling. I found her near the fire. She was trapped, I couldn't." Before she could finish, he stepped forward. He gently took the child from her arms, careful, almost trembling. Alessandro low, hoarse. Isabella. Child crying, clinging to him. "Papa." For a moment, the world seemed to stop. The mafia boss, the man who had no mercy, fell to his knees, clutching his daughter tightly. He whispered something in Italian that only the girl could hear. Then he looked up at Elena, really looked. His eyes softened. Alessandro quietly. "You saved my world." The men around him exchanged uneasy glances. They had never seen their boss like this. Elena swayed, the adrenaline fading. Her burned arm throbbed. Someone caught her as she nearly collapsed. "Mafia guard." The boss said take her to the doctor. "Now." Elena weakly. "No, I'm fine, just help the little girl." Guard firm. "You don't understand, miss." He said, "You're under his protection now." And as the paramedics rushed forward, Elena turned her head one last time. Through the flashing lights and drifting smoke, she saw Alessandro Di Luca still kneeling, his daughter in his arms, his cold mask cracking for the first time. He looked at Elena, a silent promise in his gaze. One that would pull her into a world she never wanted to enter, but could no longer escape. That was the day Elena Rossi became the woman who saved the Mafia boss's daughter. But she didn't know. It was also the day she'd become the target of something much darker. Elena woke to the smell of antiseptic and silence. For a moment, she thought it had all been a nightmare. But then she saw the white sheets, the bandaged arm, and the armed man standing at the door. This wasn't a hospital. This was somewhere else. Mafia guard stern. You're awake. Elena weakly. Where am I? Guard. Private clinic. The boss insisted you be treated here. The word boss made her chest tighten. Memories of smoke, fire, and that man's eyes came flooding back. She looked out the window, wide lawns, marble fountains, expensive cars glistening in the sun. This wasn't just any place. It was the De Luca estate. Female voice gentle. Good morning, Miss Rossi. I'm Dr. Liana. Mr. De Luca asked me to look after you personally. Elena confused. Why? I only helped his daughter. Dr. Liana soft smile. In this house, that means you saved his life. Dr. Liana told her the burns weren't deep, but the shock had taken its toll. Still, all Elena wanted was to leave. Elena firm. I don't belong here. Please tell him I'm grateful, but I can't stay. Dr. Liana. I'll let him know, but I doubt he'll agree. Hours passed. Every creak, every murmur in the hall made her heartbeat quicken. Then, as the golden light of afternoon filled the room, he entered. Alessandro De Luca. No guards this time. No mask of power, just the man himself. He stood by the door, watching her. The same eyes that once froze a room now seemed uncertain. Alessandro quietly. You should be resting. Elena tense, sitting up. I'm fine. I don't understand why I'm here. Alessandro. You saved my daughter. That's not something I forget. Elena uneasy. I didn't do it for thanks. I just heard her cry. A faint smile flickers at the corner of his mouth, the first she's ever seen. Alessandro. That's exactly why it matters. There was something strange in his tone. A mix of gratitude, guilt, and something deeper he wouldn't admit. He placed a small velvet box on the table beside her bed. Alessandro. A token of appreciation. Elena. I don't need gifts. Alessandro firmly. It's not a gift. It's protection. She opens the box. Inside is a sleek silver bracelet with a tiny emblem. Elena confused. What is this? Alessandro. If anyone in this city ever threatens you, show them that. They'll know you're under De Luca protection. Elena. Under your protection? Alessandro nods. You entered my fire and came out alive with my daughter in your arms. That makes you family now, whether you like it or not. Isabella off-screen, excited. Papa. Is she awake? Is she here? And just like that, the tension broke. The small girl ran into the room, curls bouncing, teddy bear in hand. Her eyes lit up when she saw Elena. Isabella smiling through a lisp. You're the lady from the fire. You saved me. Elena smiling softly. I'm glad you're okay, sweetheart. Isabella. Can I stay with her, Papa? Alessandro looks at Elena, his usual coldness melting just for a moment. Alessandro quiet. For a little while. For the next few days, Elena remained at the estate. Every morning, she'd wake to the sound of fountains, laughter in the garden, and guards patrolling like shadows. At first, she hated it. The walls felt like a cage, too clean, too quiet, too safe. But Isabella wouldn't leave her side. She followed Elena everywhere, at breakfast, in the garden, even nap time. And little by little, Elena's fear softened into warmth. Isabella giggling. Papa never plays in the garden. You should tell him to come. Elena teasing. Maybe he's afraid you'll beat him at tag. Both laugh. Then silence. Alessandro appears in the doorway, watching them with unreadable eyes. For the first time in years, Alessandro watched his daughter laugh freely. And the woman who'd saved her, sitting in sunlight, didn't look like someone from his world at all. She looked like something that didn't belong in his darkness. That night, the house returned to its usual quiet. But from behind the office doors, muffled voices whispered. Elena walked past, pausing when she heard his voice, cold again, all softness gone. Alessandro on phone. I want names. Whoever planted that bomb, find them. Alessandro lower, darker. And listen carefully, protect her. She doesn't know it yet, but she's already in danger. Elena whispers. Protect me? Why? What's he talking about? She didn't know that saving a child had marked her, that her face had been seen by the same men who wanted that fire to end lives, not save them. Outside the estate walls, whispers were spreading, and the woman who saved the mafia boss's daughter was about to become the next target. But for now, under the daylight glow of the De Luca mansion, Elena still believed she was safe. It had been 5 days since the fire, and though the De Luca mansion gleamed under the sun, behind those walls, a unease was growing. Outside the gates, men with cameras lurked. Reporters, strangers, and eyes that didn't belong. Word had spread. A waitress named Elena Rossi had saved the mafia boss's daughter. The media called her the Angel of Fire. But angels, in this city, didn't last long. Elena to herself, uneasy. I should have gone home the moment I could walk. Alessandro off-screen, calm but firm. You wouldn't have made it halfway down the street. She turns. He's leaning in the doorway, arms crossed. Elena frowning. Is that a threat? Alessandro quietly. No, it's a warning. He walks closer, voice low and deliberate. Alessandro, the people who lit that fire, they know your face now. They failed to kill me, but they won't make the same mistake twice. A tense pause. She studies him, his expression unreadable. Elena, so what do you expect me to do? Hide here forever? Alessandro, I expect you to stay alive. There it was again, the command in his voice. But beneath it, fear, not for himself, for her. But not everything was darkness. Isabella's laughter filled the house again. And every time Elena made her smile, Alessandra's walls cracked a little more. Elena plays tea party with Isabella. Isabella giggles. Papa says you're my guardian angel. Elena smiling. Oh? Did he now? Isabella. He said you're brave like Mama was. Elena freezes. Her eyes soften. Elena. I'm sure your Mama was very brave. Isabella whispers. I don't remember her much. Papa never talks about her. Elena reaches out, brushing a curl from Isabella's cheek. Elena gently. Then maybe he talks about her in his heart. Maid whispering. You're brave to speak to him like that, you know. Elena. He's just a manual. Maid quickly. No, he's not. He's the man. People disappear for less than a whisper against him. Elena quietly. Maybe he's just tired of being feared. Footsteps approach. Alessandro enters, cutting the conversation short. Alessandro. Elena. Come with me. He led her to a study lined with photographs, family portraits, faded smiles, old memories. And there, on his desk, was a newspaper. Front page headline. TH Angel A&D TH Devil, mystery woman linked to Mafia Boss. Elena gasps. Elena. They published my name? Alessandro grim. They published your address. She covers her mouth, horrified. Elena. No, my landlord, my neighbors. Alessandro interrupting. They've been moved. Safely. I handled it. Elena angry, emotional. You can't just handle people's lives. Alessandro raising his voice slightly. And you can't walk blindly into a war. Alessandro quietly. You saved my daughter once. Let me save you now. Elena stares at him. The anger fades into confusion, emotion. Elena whispering. I didn't save her for this. I just couldn't let a child die. He exhales, long and heavy, and sits on the edge of his desk. Alessandro softly. And that's why you're the only one I trust. Elena teaching Isabella to draw. Alessandro watching them from afar. Guards keeping distance, but lowering their weapons. For the first time, laughter echoing in the De Luca mansion. For a fleeting moment, the House of Shadows felt alive again. The sun touched corners that had forgotten warmth. And for the first time since his wife's death, Alessandro De Luca smiled. Early morning. Birds chirping. Elena hums in the kitchen. Sudden sound, crack. Glass shatters. A bullet embeds in the wall next to her. Elena screams. Ah. Guards rush in, shouting, confusion. Guard. Down. Get her down. She's pulled to the floor. Another bullet hits the window frame. The shot came from outside, a warning. On the table, amid shards of glass, a folded piece of paper. Sound of paper unfolding. Elena reading shakily. Stay away from De Luca or next time, we won't miss. The shadows were no longer outside the walls. They had found her, and the man she'd begun to trust, the one whose daughter she carried from the fire, was now the reason someone wanted her dead. And in the daylight safety of the De Luca mansion, Elena Rossi realized she was living in the heart of the storm. Morning came with a silence that didn't feel peaceful. The mansion was calm, but underneath, something had shifted. The bullet hole in the kitchen wall still glimmered like an open wound. And Elena, the woman who once smiled freely, now checked every window before she breathed. The De Luca mansion had always been guarded, but now the guards had doubled. Every shadow looked like a threat, every face like it was hiding something. Door creaks open. Elena walks into the study, holding the threatening note. Elena to Alessandro, tense. I'm not staying another day in this house. Alessandro coldly. You're safer here than anywhere else. Elena. Safer? Someone just shot at me in your kitchen. Alessandro snaps. And that's exactly why you don't leave. For the first time, their words turned into weapons. Elena's eyes burned, not with fear anymore, but with anger. Elena quiet but firm. I risked my life for your daughter, not to become a prisoner. Alessandro. You're not my prisoner, Elena. You're my responsibility. For a moment, she saw it again. The man beneath the boss. The father. The human. And maybe, the guilt he carried for the danger that surrounded her. But guilt wasn't enough. Something darker was moving inside this house. That evening, Alessandro gathered his most trusted men and Elena in front of the mansion's security monitors. Alessandro commanding. Check every hour, every face. I want to know who stepped foot near that kitchen window. Card. Sir, this camera was turned off 2 hours before the attack. Everyone goes silent. Alessandro. By who? Guard hesitates. Card. System logs say Marco Di Luca. Marco. The man Alessandro trusted most. His right hand. His shadow for 10 years. Elena's blood ran cold. She had seen Marco smile at Isabella, carry her on his shoulders. But now, that same man's name was written in betrayal. Alessandro furious. Find him. Now. Doors slam. Guards scatter. Elena follows, heart racing. They found him near the garage, packing a bag, gun at his waist, sweat on his brow. Alessandro low growl. Going somewhere, Marco? Marco turns, startled. His hand twitches toward the gun, then freezes. Marco nervous laugh. Boss, you've got it wrong. Alessandro cuts in, deadly calm. Then tell me why the camera went dark before someone tried to kill the woman who saved my daughter. Silence. Marco's jaw tightens. His eyes shift to Elena. Marco cold. She's the reason this happened. Ever since she showed up, we've been exposed. Elena steps forward, trembling but brave. I'm not your enemy, Marco. You're hiding something. He smirks, voice sharp. Marco, you think you know this family? You think he's some broken angel you can fix? Alessandro's fist slams into Marco's jaw. Marco stumbles back, bleeding. Alessandro furious. You tried to kill my daughter. Marco laughs bitterly. No, boss. I tried to kill you. Everyone freezes. Marco spits blood, sneering. That fire was meant for you. But your little girl got caught in it. You should have died that day, not her, not anyone else. Alessandro's breathing quickens, rage boiling. Alessandro gritted teeth. You betrayed this family. Marco darkly. This family died with your wife. You're chasing ghosts, boss. And now they're chasing you. He lunges for the gun. Chaos erupts. Guards tackle him. Gunshot rings out. Then, silence. The shot missed. Marco was dragged away, cursing, screaming, promising it wasn't over. And in that silence, Alessandro's rage melted into something else, sorrow. Later that night, Elena found him alone by the fountain, the same one where Isabella liked to play. His gun lay beside him, untouched. He looked. Tired. Elena softly. Are you okay? Alessandro without looking up. He was like a brother. I trusted him with my life. He rubs his hands together, his voice breaking slightly. Alessandro. And he nearly killed my child. Elena steps closer. Her voice is gentle. Elena. Then don't let his hatred take what you still have. Alessandro bitter laugh. You think I can just walk away? You think people like me get redemption? Elena. I think you want it, even if you don't believe you deserve it. He finally looks up, eyes full of conflict. For a moment, neither speak. In that moment, something shifted between them. Not love, not yet, but understanding. Two broken souls, trapped in a war neither asked for. He reaches for her hand. She lets him, silently. Guards shouting, outside. Ambush! We're under fire. Elena gasps. Alessandro grabs his weapon, runs. The night exploded with chaos, bullets, shouting, engines roaring outside the walls. Elena ducked behind the marble pillar as glass shattered around her. She saw Alessandro in the open courtyard, firing back, shouting orders. his shirt stained red at the shoulder. Elena screaming. Alessandro. Gunshots fade, then one loud shot, then silence. When the echoes died, Elena ran out into the courtyard. He was on the ground, breathing, but barely, blood spreading across his side. Alessandro weakly, whispering, Elena. She drops to her knees beside him, voice shaking. Elena, don't talk. Stay still. Please. His hand grips hers, weak, trembling. Alessandro, I told you were in danger, but I didn't mean it would be because of me. His eyes close. Guards rush in. Guard. He's hit bad. We need the doctor. As they carried him away, Elena's hands trembled, stained with his blood. And for the first time, she realized it wasn't just the boss's world she was caught in anymore. It was his fate. But the night wasn't done with her yet, because when dawn came, the truth about that ambush would change everything. The sun rose quietly over the ruins of the Rossi estate. Smoke still curled into the morning air, carrying with it the scent of burnt wood, blood, and endings. Elena sat in the back of the van, cradling Alessandro's head in her lap. His breathing was shallow, his lips pale, his once fearsome hands trembling weakly. Beside them, Isabella clung to her small stuffed bear, her wide eyes filled with confusion and fear. The Mafia Boss, the man everyone feared, now looked fragile, human mortal. Elena tore off the last strip of her sleeve and pressed it against his wound again. Elena soft, desperate. Don't talk, just breathe, Alessandro. We're almost there. He tried to smile, that same arrogant smirk she'd once despised, now barely a flicker on his lips. Alessandro, horse. You always tell me what to do. Elena. Then listen for once. He coughed, a violent, rattling sound that made her heart stop. Blood stained the bandage again. Isabella crying. Papa, Papa, wake up. Elena turned to the child, brushing her hair back gently. Elena softly. He's not going anywhere, sweetheart. I promise. But even as she said it, she wasn't sure she could keep that promise. The van hit a bump. Alessandro winced in pain. Elena's eyes darted to the road ahead, empty fields, miles of nowhere. The driver, one of Alessandro's men, looked terrified. Driver. Signora, the boss, he's not gonna make it unless we... Elena snapping. Just drive. The man obeyed, slamming his foot on the accelerator. An hour later, they reached an old farmhouse, surrounded by golden fields swaying in the morning light. It looked peaceful, too peaceful for the storm that had brought them there. Elena and the driver carried Alessandro inside. The floorboards creaked under their steps, dust swirling in the shafts of sunlight breaking through the windows. She laid him on a table, trembling hands searching for anything, scissors, cloth, alcohol, anything to stop the bleeding. Her mind raced. Her heart screamed, but her hands never stopped moving. She poured alcohol over his wound. He groaned in agony. Alessandro, weak smile. I thought you didn't like me. Elena teary. I still don't. Now shut up before I make it worse. He chuckled, barely a sound, but it was enough. Enough to tell her he was still fighting. She stitched the wound with shaking hands, her tears falling silently. It wasn't perfect, but it was life. Hours later, the chaos faded into stillness. Alessandro slept, pale but alive. Elena sat beside him, watching the sunlight crawl across his face. Isabella slept in the corner, wrapped in her coat. For the first time in days, silence felt safe. Then, a whisper broke it. Alessandro, barely audible. Why didn't you leave? Elena quietly. Because she needed me. He opened his eyes slightly, a weak, almost disbelieving smile touched his lips. Alessandro. She? Elena. Your daughter. Alessandro. And what about me? She hesitated, then sighed. Elena softly. I didn't stay for you. I stayed for the man she believes you can be. He looked at her for a long time, eyes glistening with something she'd never seen before, humility. Alessandro whispered, I don't deserve that. Elena. Maybe not. But she does. For the first time, he said nothing. He just closed his eyes and let the light fall on his face. Scene 4. The storm returns. Days passed. The wound began to heal, but danger never stayed away for long. That morning, Elena was hanging laundry outside when she noticed tire tracks in the dirt. Fresh ones. Her pulse quickened. Elena to herself. No, not now. She ran inside. Elena. Alessandro. They've found us. He sat up slowly, grimacing in pain, reaching for the gun she'd hidden under the pillow. Alessandro calm, cold. Take Isabella and go out back. If I don't. Alina furious. Don't you dare finish that sentence. Alessandro. Elena. Alina. She's not losing another parent. Outside, engines roared. Black SUVs stopped at the gate. Men in suits stepped out, guns drawn. Elena's breath came in short bursts. She clutched Isabella's hand. Isabella whimpering. Mama, I'm scared. Elena's heart clenched at that word. Mama. She turned to Alessandro. Alina quietly. If you ever wanted to prove you've changed, this is the moment. The front door burst open. Shouts. Footsteps. Elena and Isabella hid behind the old kitchen counter. Gunfire erupted outside, sharp, deafening, echoing through the house. The world turned to chaos again. Smoke filled the air. The sound of bullets became the heartbeat of fear. Then, silence. Elena peeked over the counter. And there he was. Alessandro stood in the doorway, blood on his sleeve, but alive. The gun dangled in his hand, his eyes locked on the men before him. Alessandro commanding voice. Enough! The men froze. A familiar face stepped forward, Marco, his right-hand man. Marco. Boss, you're alive. Alessandro. Not because of you. Marco. They turned on us. I had no choice. Alessandro. There's always a choice. He looked at the gun in his hand, then threw it to the floor. Alessandro firm, resolute. This ends now. No more blood. No more revenge. No more empire. His men stared in disbelief. Marco shocked. What are you saying? Alessandro. I'm done being the wolf. The silence that followed was heavy, the kind that decides fates. Then one by one the men lowered their weapons. When it was over, Alessandro sank to his knees, exhausted. Elena rushed to him, her hands trembling. Elena. You could have died. Alessandro, weak smile. But I didn't. Not this time. She exhaled sharply, half angry, half relieved. Elena. You threw everything away. Alessandro. I didn't throw it away, I finally let it go. The men slowly drove away. Dust filled the air. Elena watched him, bruised, bloodied, but standing tall. For the first time, he looked free. Weeks passed. The farmhouse became their quiet world, a place where laughter slowly replaced gunfire. Isabella drew pictures in the yard. Alessandro fixed fences with clumsy hands unused to peace. Elena watched him sometimes, unable to believe this was the same man. One morning, she found him outside, staring at the horizon. Elena softly. You look different. Alessandro smiling faintly. Maybe I am. He turned to her, eyes calm for once. Alessandro, I used to think power was about fear. But now I know real power is the choice not to destroy. She smiled, proud, but still guarded. Elena, you finally understand. Alessandro, because of you. She laughed softly. Elena, don't give me too much credit. Alessandro gently. I'm not. I'm giving it where it's due. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, Alessandro called her outside. He stood there, dressed simply, no suit, no guards, no shadows. In his hands, a small wooden box. Elena confused. What's this? He opened it. Inside, a gold ring. Modest. Simple. Beautiful. Alessandro softly. You once told me every man has a choice. This is mine. Elena teary-eyed. Alessandro. Alessandro. You carried my daughter through fire. You carried me through my past. Now, let me carry you through whatever comes next. Tears welled in her eyes. Elena whispering. You're serious? Alessandro smiling. For the first time in my life. Isabella peeked from the doorway, grinning. Isabella excited. Mama, say yes. Elena laughed through her tears, shaking her head in disbelief. Elena. You two are impossible. She looked at him again, and saw not the Mafia boss, but the man beneath. The man who chose love over vengeance. Elena softly. The next morning, sunlight poured into the farmhouse. The chaos was gone. The fear was gone. Only peace remained. Alessandro poured coffee while Elena watched Isabella chase butterflies outside. The world, quiet, golden, alive. He turned to her and smiled. Alessandro, you know what I realized? Elena. What? Alessandro. When you carried my daughter to safety, I thought you saved my bloodline. But you saved something much more than that. Elena. What? Alessandro softly. My soul. She smiled, eyes glistening in the morning light. Elena, then don't waste it. Alessandro grinning. I won't. They say life gives us moments that define who we are. For Alessandro Rossi, it wasn't the day he built his empire. It was the day he chose to let it go. The day he looked at a woman who defied fear and saw redemption staring back. And for Elena, the woman who ran through fire to save an innocent child, that choice changed her world. Because love doesn't always come from the ones who promise to protect you. Sometimes it comes from the ones who choose to.